This question comes from Alex, who asks, what if earthquakes never stopped? At first, it sounds like a scenario straight out of a disaster movie. But to understand what would happen, we need to examine how earthquakes actually work.
Earthquakes are caused by the movement of tectonic plates. These plates are constantly shifting, colliding, and sliding past each other. Normally, stress builds up along fault lines until it's released in the form of an earthquake. Currently, major earthquakes occur sporadically, with long periods of calm in between.
Now imagine that stress on the Earth's crust never had a chance to release normally. Instead, earthquakes would be continuous, occurring all over the world at the same time. Buildings, bridges, and infrastructure would constantly be shaking. Even the strongest structures we've built would struggle to stay intact.
The first effects would be catastrophic. Roads would buckle, tunnels collapse, and power lines topple. Water and gas pipelines would rupture, causing fires and floods in cities. Transportation systems would grind to a halt, and emergency services would be overwhelmed. Volcanoes would likely respond too. Continuous seismic activity would destabilize magma chambers beneath volcanoes, triggering eruptions around the globe. Lava flows, ash clouds, and pyroclastic events would become frequent hazards, adding to the chaos. Even the oceans wouldn't be safe. Underwater earthquakes could trigger near-constant tsunamis. Coastal regions would be repeatedly inundated, destroying settlements, eroding shorelines, and altering ecosystems. Shipping and fishing industries would be completely disrupted.
But it's not just human infrastructure at risk. Ecosystems would be constantly disturbed. Forests would collapse, landslides would reshape mountains, and river courses could change overnight. Animals would struggle to survive in constantly shifting habitats, with many species likely going extinct.
The continuous movement of the Earth's crust would even affect the planet's rotation and orbit. While it wouldn't fling us into space, the cumulative effect of continuous seismic energy might slightly alter day length or generate changes in the magnetic field. Navigation systems and satellites could be impacted, creating further challenges for human technology. Economically, a world of nonstop earthquakes would be nearly ungovernable. Global trade would collapse as ports, airports, and roads become unusable. Insurance companies would go bankrupt, and governments would struggle to provide even basic services. Large cities would become uninhabitable, and humanity would be forced to migrate to safer, less developed areas, if such places exist.
On a psychological level, living in constant motion would take a toll. Stress, anxiety, and trauma would skyrocket. People would learn to adapt, building flexible structures and emergency shelters, but life would always be precarious.
There might be some unexpected effects, too. Earthquakes could expose new mineral resources or create new landforms. Volcanic activity could enrich soils, and geothermal energy could become an abundant power source. However, the human and ecological cost would be enormous, likely outweighing any benefits.
Over time, civilization as we know it would probably change dramatically. People might abandon large cities entirely, living in small, mobile communities that can escape hazards quickly. Agriculture would shift to hydroponics or other controlled environments. Society would adapt, but the memory of constant earthquakes would shape every aspect of culture and daily life.
So, what if earthquakes never stopped? The Earth would become a place of relentless motion and destruction. Humanity would need to adapt to survive, and life as we know it would be permanently altered. Even if we learned to live with the chaos, the planet itself would never feel stable again. In the end, the Earth's constant shaking would be a reminder of the immense power lying beneath our feet, power that we normally take for granted, but which, if unleashed without pause, could transform life on our planet forever.